What's going on, YouTube? And welcome back. And of course, we are doing another tour here in the MC Parks Magic server. Today, it is the Diamond Lion. We are back touring specifically Epcot. And this is an attraction that is one I haven't seen a lot of information online in terms of, especially on Minecraft, the Walt Disney World recreation of it here, and this is one of the I guess at the time was a super controversial attraction. You talk about the big attractions when they close, right? This was one of the big hitters in the beginning. The Mr. Toad's Wild Ride closing for Winnie the Pooh, that was a big one, and then Maelstrom closing to become Frozen. There was a lot of controversy around this, and I think the biggest reason wasn't exactly I think people understood the business side of it. They understand that, you know, obviously Frozen getting a princess in Epcot, the merchandise sales would be higher than Maelstrom. But I think people who are Epcot purists were more so worried about the idea of having an IP in the World Showcase, right? Like you could see some type of IP a little bit here, but it was integrated in a way that didn't make it feel like in your face IP, right? Like you had Ellen in Ellen's Energy Adventure, but it never felt like an IP attraction. Or Living with the Land and Soarin', they never felt like IP attractions. Same thing with Journey into Imagination, right? And so on and so forth. And Space Mountain, Mission Space, right? All that stuff. It never felt like an in-your-face IP. So this was the turning point in really Epcot history. This was the first real, pure IP-based attraction, not only in Epcot but in the World Showcase. It was a big deal. And the attraction is called Frozen Ever After, which obviously is inspired off of the famous movie Frozen. And the 2015 animated film definitely struck a chord, and it hit a market that Disney really hadn't, like, I think they expected it to be a big movie, but they didn't expect it the way it was. It was a super, super popular movie. There are different versions of this attraction as well. We now have one in Hong Kong, Tokyo, and also Walt Disney Studios Park, which we're hearing is rumored to be going in that new kind of expansion area in that park. Now, where this attraction is really, this is in the Norway Pavilion, and I think a lot of people were kind of upset because they were worried that this is exactly what was going to happen. Was they were going to put Frozen in here, they were going to take away Maelstrom, and this was going to become a princess themed area, and it kind of did. The Royal Akershus is a pretty much a buffet character dining thing, right? Very expensive character dining, but you get to see all the princesses. So that's all over here. You have Kringla Bakery, which is in here, has really good Irish school bread. Definitely got to try that the next time you come in here if you haven't already. Obviously, you've got all your Anna and Elsa princess costumes and plushes and dresses and bubble wands and shirts and everything Frozen, right? Olaf, Sven, right? All that stuff. It's all in here. And that's why, kind of looking at this attraction, right? Like this attraction it's going to make people feel a certain type of way, whether it's something that people come away with and really love, or they consider the kind of the darker side of this attraction, which is what it replaced, right? So we'll do another video on the history of Maelstrom and kind of the attraction that used to be here, because I want to talk about Frozen. Like, this attraction deserves its own sort of thing, because the buzz around the movie obviously came over when this was the first Frozen attraction in a theme park. It drew a lot of attention, a lot. This thing had huge lines. It was very difficult to get into this attraction. And if you didn't have a fast pass, you were not riding Frozen Ever After. It was not going to happen for you. In this queue area, you have kind of the Norwegian village theming, which I think they did a really nice job of. And my most recent trip to Disney in 2023, I was able to actually go in this attraction. I had never been on this attraction before. It took me a while to get into this attraction, but I was glad I was able to do that. The attraction opened June of 2016. So this is now, again, we talk about attractions like time flies by, and this attraction is almost 10 years old. It is 9 years old in June. It's almost a decade old. That is crazy. But anyway, so Maelstrom, which opened in 2016, it's one of those things that it's pretty much what you would expect it to be. It's the retelling of the story of the Frozen movie. And now that Frozen now has a second movie and probably a third movie coming out, there's obviously, this is a IP that Disney expects to stick around for quite a while, right? Like, this is not leaving the limelight anytime soon. And we look back at the 2010s for Walt Disney animation. Frozen is probably at the top of that. If it's not Moana, it's probably Frozen. And I would say Frozen is kind of the one that kickstarted the whole princess renaissance, right? Because now we've got Frozen, Moana, Encanto. That all started, that whole kind of train, give credit where it's due, that whole thing started with Anna and Elsa in Frozen. And you have a couple of interesting characters in here. You've got it's like I don't know what the Nordic guy is, but he's like taking a ice bath or something in there. I don't fully know. You guys are probably laughing at me like, what is he talking about? But yeah, so that's over there. You obviously have the rest of the attraction here, which is it's a boat ride. And this is the exact boat that used to be for Maelstrom, which I think that pulls at some heartstrings. People really miss that attraction. So seeing the exact same boat when you get in either makes people nostalgic in a good way, like, oh, I remember that attraction, it's a good nod, or people are like, oh, I miss that attraction compared to what this is. So obviously this is a pretty big deal. The real version of this is pretty magical. You get to see these kind of light up icicles with Olaf skating around with Sven in the background. It is pretty cool. But when you compare this against some of the newer ones that have opened, like in the World of Frozen at Hong Kong Disneyland, or the one that opened in Tokyo Disney Sea in 2024, there's one under construction in Disney Adventure World, which is the former park in Disneyland Paris. So that's gonna open in 2026. This is definitely seen as, unfortunately, what happens when you're the first version of an attraction. Different Disney park executives have come in and seen maybe the projection mapping on the faces of the characters in this attraction not really working, or being reliable, or not looking real, or not looking good for that matter. All those types of things. And they really made those animatronics really, really great in these other parks. So it makes this version really kind of, it definitely doesn't stack up as well as those other versions do, unfortunately. So as much as I think this is a decent attraction, and I think people really, it's perfect for that little girl audience that really wants to see Anna and Elsa and Olaf and Sven, right? That's what this attraction's all about at the end of the day. But I do think there is a missed opportunity with this attraction, and when you compare it to what the plussed up versions of it are, it definitely is frustrating. But this was, a pretty historical attraction in the sense that this was the first Frozen attraction in the Disney parks. And obviously this brings a lot of the similar elements to what used to be here in Maelstrom. This whole kind of going down backwards scene with Elsa, like this whole little theatrical thing that happens. It's all pretty cool, right? Um, it is quite an interesting attraction, to say the least. It's definitely different than just your normal boat ride that just goes forward the whole time, right? There's a couple dips and drops, and unlike Pirates of the Caribbean, you go backwards, right? Like I think that's all pretty cool. This attraction again is a pioneer because of what kind of came after it. But you've got the little snow geese here, which this used to be a really famous scene in Maelstrom back in the day. You have the giant snow monster there. Um, I mean, this is really just it's one of those things that I think the purists really the biggest concern wasn't because it was Frozen. It was because it was an IP, and the fact that IP was going to be in Epcot. And you've seen since then, Disney has definitely done that. We've got, um, now we've got recently, Beauty and the Beast has a theater show type of sing along thing in France. Obviously, they made a huge expansion behind France for Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, right? And then you also have some of these other attractions that might be coming down the line. I mean, is there a chance we ever see a Tangled ride? Or a Luca ride? Or a Coco ride? Like, all those types of concepts, how far are those to coming into World Showcase? Probably not that far, honestly. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have a huge vindication for this attraction like a lot of people do because unfortunately I was never able to ride Maelstrom. And maybe that's why I think the way I do about this attraction is I'm just kind of indifferent because I never saw Maelstrom. But with that said, it is definitely interesting to see how this park has evolved since this attraction opened, right? Like the vast mindset shift of World Showcase and Epcot because of this attraction being implemented, right? It set a precedent, and that precedent is Epcot with IP. So let me know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think of the idea of Epcot having this attraction, having this area? I really do like Frozen, honestly. Like, I don't even like the movies. I couldn't even sit through the first movie. But like, it's not for me. Like this, they really needed to find a way to bring little girls into Epcot and give them a reason to be excited. And this attraction, for better or for worse, does exactly that. And you're seeing that now kind of coming over to Animal Kingdom, right? Like they're trying to find a way to wedge Moana somewhere, whether that ends up being Magic Kingdom, Animal Kingdom, Hollywood Studios. Like Moana is kind of weird. Moana can kind of go anywhere, but we're seeing Encanto, right? Encanto going to Animal Kingdom, which is an interesting choice, to say the least. But right, that's going to be happening. So they're trying to implement these princesses in different areas, and this is one of them. So that's going to do it for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this content and want to see more videos like it, guys, don't be afraid to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I've been putting a lot of work into trying to get as many of these attractions as I can, and just going down the list of attractions that really maybe don't get enough attention or enough love. And yeah, we're kind of going to do that here with Frozen, which is almost now a decade old. That's crazy. Thanks for watching, guys, and have a magical day.